"The Lord have mercy on his soul," said my aunt. Eliza took out her handkerchief and wiped her eyes with it. Then she put it back again in her pocket and gazed into the empty grate for some time without speaking. "He was too scrupulous always," she said. "The duties of the priesthood were too much for him, and then his life was, you might say, crossed." "Yes," said my aunt. "He was a disappointed man. You could see that." A silence took possession of the little room, and under cover of it, I approached the table and tasted my sherry, and then returned quietly to my chair in the corner. Eliza seemed to have fallen into a deep reverie. We waited respectfully for her to break her silence, and after a long pause, she said slowly, "It was the chalice he broke. That was the beginning of it. Of course, they say it was all right, that it contained nothing, I mean. But still, they say it was the boy's fault. But poor James was so nervous. God be merciful to him." "And was that it?" said my aunt. "I heard something—" Eliza nodded. "That affected his mind," she said. "After that he began to mope by himself, talking to no one and wandering about by himself. So one night he was wanted for to go on a call, and they couldn't find him anywhere. They looked high up and low down, and still they couldn't see a sight of him anywhere. So then the clerk suggested to try the chapel. So then they got the keys and opened the chapel, and the clerk and Father O'Rourke and another priest that was there brought in a light for to look for him. And what do you think but there he was, sitting up by himself in the dark in his confession box, wide awake and laughing like softly to himself." She stopped suddenly as if to listen. I too listened, but there was no sound in the house, and I knew that the old priest was lying still in his coffin, as we had seen him, solemn and truculent in death, an idle chalice on his breast. Eliza resumed, "Wide awake and laughing like to himself. So then, of course, when they saw that made them think that there was something gone wrong with him." That is the end of The Sisters by James Joyce, the first story in the short story collection, The Dubliners. Thank you so much for listening. Do share what you thought about that. I have admired Joyce for his no holds barred writing, and this is, of course, his earliest work. I can see glimpses of his stream of consciousness dialogue and how he tries to get thought processes of characters in black and white. Thank you so much once again for listening. I am Axat, and namaste, take care, stay safe. Coming up, the next chapter of The Dubliners.
आजा ऊपर ओ बंजारे, तू फंसा है किस असमंजस में। यहाँ हवा की है लहरें, आजा पर्वतों की आगोश में।